Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Cuccinelli, I just wanted to confirm something that I had heard earlier with my colleague from Massachusetts. Did I hear correctly that it is your testimony today that you were the individual who made the decision to end deferred action?
Yeah, I'm the acting director when we implemented this, and I'm responsible for that. So at that time, it's my decision.
So it was your decision?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I actually greatly appreciate that because we've been trying to get to the bottom of that question for quite some time, and I'm sure it will help us in future examinations of this issue. Mr. Cuccinelli, in your agency's September 24th response to this committee, you stated that USCIS did not engage external stakeholders to solicit feedback on the anticipated consequences of your policy change. Why didn't you do that?
For something like this, where we are changing a process and we're not operating off of a legal or regulatory foundation, it is not a common practice. I'm not aware of any other instances where we would seek that kind of input.
So you did not consider the impact your decision would have on critically ill children before making this decision?
We understood that even with USCIS backing out of the role of affirmatively granting deferred action in a limited number of cases, that opportunity still existed within the entire DHS system.
I see. Mr. Cuccinelli, in August, you told Fox News that you, quote, see USCIS as a vetting agency, not a benefits agency. But Congress created USCIS separate from ICE and CBP to serve immigrants. In fact, it's USCIS's own policy manual that explains that Congress created the agency to, quote, focusing exclusively on the administration of benefit applications. So, Mr. Cuccinelli, USCIS is a benefits agency. Why do you consider it not to be one?
So perhaps the best way to put that is that I would characterize us as a vetting agency first, but also a benefits agency, because you all in Congress have laid out a whole lot of different benefits that we adjudicate for immigrants and potential immigrants to this country. So that is part of our business and mission, and my phrasing is to emphasize the role we also play as an element of Department of Homeland Security in ensuring the safety and security and integrity of both the country and that immigration system.
So, Mr. Cuccinelli, I think what's tough here is that, and while I respect that Congress hasn't done its job in many respects in defining immigration policy, it's been a failure for a very long time for Congress to be able to define a lot of policies correctly, but we still have created a mission for USCIS through which the agency can interpret the spirit of this law. And it says right here on USCIS's website, the agency's core values are defined as integrity, respect, innovation, and vigilance. And there's a reason that USCIS is separate from ICE and CBP. I don't understand how deporting critically ill kids is consistent with any of these values. Mr. Cuccinelli, do you believe that you treated children with cancer, cystic fibrosis, and other diseases with the dignity and courtesy of the mission of this agency when you decided in secret to end consideration of deferred action and ordered them to leave the country within 33 days or face deportation?
Yeah, there was nothing secret about what we did. Because it was a process change, we made individual notifications, but you yourself just referred to the ability to view the mission and the spirit, and it's one chain after another. There's no law or regulation in any of that. So we do the best we can with fulfilling our role and limiting ourselves to our role, particularly when there is continuing avenue of recourse for these folks.
You have discretion in your role. And so here's the thing that I can't figure out, is that you have thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of cases, if not millions. Millions of cases in this country. And you decided to prioritize the deportation of critically ill kids. And I'm trying to figure out why.
So we did not do that. we have gone through
Out of all
a
the, but you
continuing
did, out of all,
process
reclaiming my
that-
time,
Well,
with
so
respect.
you asked a question, I
But
should
with
answer the
respect,
question.
with
And
respect,
implicit in
and I'll
the
give you a
question
moment,
was
I'll give
an
you a moment, but
accusation.
with respect. When you make this decision at a time, at a specific time, you're making this decision at the cost of other decisions. So why did you make this decision to deport critically ill kids before almost all the other decisions that you had to make as an agency?
So we didn't decide.
The gentlelady's time has expired. You can go ahead and answer the question.
We didn't decide to deport anyone. We made the decision at the end of a long road that predates me coming into my current position and discussions across DHS. But it was made on August 7th, and I was a director. So at that point, it is my decision. One of the things that Dan Renaud testified to from USCIS at the last hearing is that, to your point, there are trade-offs, as you note quite correctly, and handling 1,000 of these cases absorbs resources, which, by the way, we are not paid for, that would otherwise deal with approximately 2,000 naturalization cases. Now, we did more naturalizations last year than the whole decade. Nonetheless, there are still more pending, and I hear from many of you all legitimately about concerns about backlogs in some areas. We have improved in many areas, but we have limited resources, and this is an undertaking by USCIS that was and is going on, that has never been assigned by Congress, that has never been part of a regulation, and the authority to grant the same relief continues to exist even had USCIS not continued to participate in it in the way that we now do again.
Thank you, Mr. Cuccinelli. Gentlelady's time has expired.